You know we're lovers of all things physical media here at Sins HQ. Movies, comics, books, you name it. I have a massive collection that I can't stop growing. And that's why I'm thrilled to talk to you about today's sponsor, Whatnot. If you're not familiar, Whatnot is the #1 live stream shopping app where you can score items in real time. It's like a live auction meets live stream hangout where collectors and enthusiasts can all get together to buy some amazing stuff. Just the other day, I was looking for some cool vintage comics to add to my collection. So I click on a comic dealer live stream and watched him show off a bunch of cool books. I bid on the ones I wanted and won some unique comics. But you don't have to bid. You can also just hang and chat with the seller. They can see your chat in real time, so if you're looking for something specific, they might actually have it. And it's not just media to buy. They have over 100 categories of items, so Whatnot has something for everyone. So if this sounds cool to you, use my link in the description or scan the QR code to get $15 off your first purchase. You'll get automatically entered to win $500 in Whatnot credit. Think of all the VHS tapes you could buy. Now back to the Sins. Disney. Movie cleverly demonstrates the passage of time by recreating Andy's classic toothbrushing scene from the first movie with an electric toothbrush, a technology so fantastical that it was held aloof with the likes of flying cars by the cave people of 2006. Also, it's wild that Disney spent trillions de-aging Anne Hathaway to make it look like no time has passed at all, attempting to spice up your opening credits by documenting the busy streets of this obscure corner of America that is so rarely represented on the big screen. Movie concerning life in the 2020s can't resist showing the current state of the influencer pandemic. I have no idea if this protest is pro-Miranda Priestley, against Miranda Priestley, or the start of a campaign to make her the MCU's next Cyclops. This blue belt comparison cameo not being given the leading credit multiple focus groups clearly thought it deserved.
2 years in a row, well done.
I'm not denying the impressive accomplishment of Mac winning whatever this journalism award is 2 years in a row, but as of 2026, there are only an estimated 30,000 journalists working full-time in the United States, compared to around 112,000 at the turn of the 21st century. So Mac basically had a 75% better chance of winning now than he would have 25 years ago. But also, we mostly need to send Mac because he's a Yankees fan. These pointless monitors. If you can see these screens, then there's a good chance you can see the fucking stage they're next to. God, modern journalism really is dead.
I and that whole table full of talented, award-winning professionals from my paper, The Vanguard, just got fired.
And they all received the message at exactly the same time during an awards ceremony. Sure, these corporate bigwigs might be assholes, but you've got to give it to them for dramatic timing.
Turns out, our parent company is taking a $500 million write-down, so we're, technical term, toast.
Disney putting out a movie under the former 20th Century Fox logo with a plot instigated by a corporate parent company saving millions by firing people is fucking Shakespearean. Or at the very least, Leo meme from Django Unchained.
I just feel so terrible for everyone at the paper. Allison just bought a house.
Expecting your millennial or Gen Z audience to feel sympathy for someone who was able to buy a house that wasn't manufactured by Lego.
I know that I'm lucky. I know that a lot of people have it worse than me. Most people have it worse than me.
Hanging a lantern on all the privilege and then strolling right past that lantern with your Gucci shoes and Louis Vuitton. Well, whatever Louis Vuitton is famous for making.
Are you sure you don't want to come and work for me at the gallery?
Good God, a scene where the main character working in a media producing industry is laid off/fired and her best friend who has a high-ranking position in another field offers her a job to work with her? I don't like mixing reality bites with my Devil Wears Prada, but here we are.
You're sure the story's not going to break tonight?
The story will, of course, break tonight.
PR says we have a day or two.
Whoever the Pierre is and the fact that they both believed his dirty lies. And now we'll have one of these Devil Wears Prada montages where there are shots of all kinds of cameos of famous models, actors, or influencers, and I will have no idea who most of them are. And even if I did, I would still think this is a waste of time and celluloid that adds nothing to the finished picture, other than getting someone to say, hey, there's Ashley Graham. It's wild that Disney spent trillions de-aging Meryl Streep to make it look like no time had passed at all.
How bad is it?
A disaster. It's gone completely viral.
Thing my college girlfriend said after apologizing for sleeping with my roommate somehow makes it into the script. Also, Nigel is trying to covertly tell Miranda about this disastrous article in front of dozens of media people, any of whom could and should be expert lip readers.
The lengths that some people will go to turn a profit.
Like the entire fashion industry, which this movie is promoting as mostly a good thing.
Well, good for you, I say. Villains are always the most interesting.
No, the most interesting thing is the fact that this role in no way needed to be played by Death on the Nile's Kenneth Branagh. Intelligence is knowing that a tomato is a fruit. Wisdom is knowing I'll send the shit out of your wise ass for putting them in a fruit bowl.
That is my cue to take the dog out for a walk.
Or you could hang around as moral support for what is no doubt going to be a brutal phone call. No? Abandoning her quicker than the British Navy abandoned Dunkirk? Cool.
I am getting angry emails from ad buyers for Tiffany, Fendi, Bulgari.
Brand excitement?
How are we going to claw back any shred of credibility? Check this out.
I guess you could just wait for a perfectly timed text message that presents an Anne Hathaway-shaped solution to all your problems. Also, I'm not sure why this article about a journalist publicly shaming her former employer after being fired immediately screams, "Hire her to solve our equally embarrassing scandal." Vanity! Journalists making money on reporting on other journalists getting fired seems like it should be more fucked up than this movie gives it credit for.
Yo.
These memes feeling about as authentic as that yo. I mean, this one's just a f***ing graph. Would you like some lies with that? Is a semi-clever wordplay, but considering the tray she is holding already has fries on it, obviously no variation of this question would be asked.
Quite a speech you made today.
Oh. Hi.
Looks like you need a job.
Presumably they had to wait 20 years to make this movie because it's the only way to make Andy being fired at the exact time Runway needs a journalist believable.
I can't even believe I'm thinking about going back to work at that magazine.
How's the salary?
Twice what I made at the Vanguard.
Pretending this is a conundrum.
I am currently editing a memoir by one of Paris Hilton's chihuahuas, a sassy applehead named Chi-Town.
Methinks the privileged doth protest too much.
Your complete abandonment of your principles means a lot.
YouTubers who creatively bankrupt their content with baked-in ad reads partway through a video.
You could write a book. The definitive Miranda Priestley expose.
Definitive might be a bit premature, considering she'd be basing it on the 9 months she worked with her 20 years ago, and however the long she works with her this time around.
Look what TJ Maxx dragged in.
Did they drag in an insult about Andy's clothes? Because I hear they bought far too many, which led to them appearing all over the place and devaluing their desirability.
Happy? You just cost Cornell summa cum laude her job.
Technically, Irv cost Ashley her job. I know Miranda will be Miranda, but likewise, the CinemaSins narrator will be the CinemaSins narrator.
First in her family to go to college, I believe.
The idea that Miranda would even retain that type of trivial knowledge about any of her employees seems inconsistent at best and fucking far-fetched at worst.
We could sit down and go through some of your priorities. I could share some of my insights.
Andy seems to have completely forgotten that Miranda has never been one to brainstorm. She relies on the much more reliable method of talking at you as fast as possible so you have no chance of remembering what she needs.
Fix this, we got this. Who do we have to talk to?
And of course, it's Emily they have to talk to because per sequel rules, every future encounter the main character has in life has to almost always conveniently revolve around the people who appeared in the previous movies. Also, it's wild that Disney spent trillions de-aging Emily Blunt to make it look like no time has passed at all.
You also know her?
We were at Runway at the same time, Miranda.
Where was I?
Accidentally admitting that your first movie might not have been as memorable as you thought it was,
Hanging in there by your fingernails? Remember when magazines were a thing?
says the person about to negotiate for increased ad space in the magazine that she says isn't a thing.
It's really remarkable. A senior editor at Runway. You.
Emily is shocked by this news, but it feels much more like an Emily has to be as mean as possible bit rather than actual surprise, considering Andy is an award-winning journalist.
We are thinking at least 3 pages of advertising credit.
Using the term at least in a negotiation, as if it's in Runway's interest to volunteer some more ad space.
And a feature on the opening of our new flagship. 6 pages.
3.
No, 5.
Shouldn't there be a fucking lawyer here or something? Listen, I'd let the toot negotiate for my mortal soul. But this room should have more lawyers than every time I try and make a joke about my new... Hey! Where'd all these lawyers come from?
I'm confused. You just let them tell you what to do?
And I'm confused why Andy, a journalist of 20 years, is confused about how advertising works.
Advertisers are important. I know that I'm not brand new.
Yeah, but sequels always have to reset some development and make you seem a little bit brand new to recapture some of the fun of the first movie. At least they think that's what will happen.
Let's be clear. You did not earn this job.
To be fair, Miranda has no awareness of Andy at all, so she has no idea if she's earned it or not. Kissing off everyone you work for and at least one person at Dior is not an it I would be celebrating. No matter how many times I hear it said or see it spelled out, I still want to call this magazine Runaway, and I blame Bon Jovi.
A million girls would kill for this job.
Reference!
Amari, I need to pee. Please, I had a venti.
Another sequel in a long line of sequels that clearly plans on recycling bits from the first movie like a golden shower of callbacks.
Good luck, Charlie.
Disney randomly throwing in mentions of past Disney IP is the most Disney thing ever.
This is you.
Andy is given a tiny mess of an office to work from because the new bits in this movie will be recycled bits from every sitcom ever.
Who gives away Chanel?
Chanel?
It's so good to see you, Nigel.
It is!
What magazine? You must know that Runway stopped being a magazine many years ago.
And Andy should absolutely already know this. There were so many ways to bring up this plot point without making it seem like Andy is an idiot who knows nothing about the companies she accepts jobs from.
I mean, we still have a book, but practically nobody buys it.
Calling the million people who still buy every issue of Vogue nobody.
I used to get 4 weeks in Africa with Abaddon to do a glossy spread, and now I'm lucky if I get 2 days at Milk Studios to shoot content that people scroll past whilst they...
Acting like US magazines choosing to stop spending so much money on extravagant shoots in other countries for 3 pages of pictures that could in no way recoup the initial investment back is a bad thing. Also, think yourself lucky, Nigel. At least magazines don't have subtitles to mess with.
Is it just me? Or has Miranda been extra spicy?
I'd actually say they have turned her spice down compared to the first movie. And even if she was, I think that's pretty f***ing understandable given she's just lost a shit ton of advertisers.
She's on edge because Irv is about to promote her to global head of content.
Wow, and just when a scandal rolls through and puts all that at risk, what are the odds? They should turn her life into a book and then adapt it into a movie with a plot development like that. But what the devil would they even call it?
Nice to meet you. I was an intern this morning.
I like this character a lot better when they were played by Robert De Niro.
Yeah, I heard there were some HR complaints. Apparently she used to just throw her coat at people.
To be fair, she only threw it at one person, the second assistant. It's not her fault that person kept changing. These upside-down glasses being the height of fashion while I'm over here still waiting for 2015 to deliver on its promise of inside-out pockets. I applaud the fact that this entire article makes sense and somebody genuinely went to the effort of writing it. But it goes by so fast there's no way of knowing that's the case if watching the movie like a normie. Therefore, somebody's time was wasted. Therefore, sin. Oh, I'm sorry. Was somebody under the illusion that CinemaSins was a winnable game?
When you go to her house, no matter what anyone tells you, don't go up the stairs.
By all means, move through your callbacks at a glacial pace. You know how that thrills me. Wait, May 17th? This article covering Andy's outburst at the award show was dated September 16th. 9 months ago? She was hired as a direct result of this outburst, meaning it's taken her 9 months to publish this apology piece? No wonder Miranda thinks she's useless. Just going to assume Andy is still eating onion bagels, so the sin, as always, is onion bagels. In this scene, the role of me will be played by Andy, and the role of my father will be played by Meryl Streep.
That was a cool profile.
Oh, yeah. The Barnes piece. Obviously, it was from before their split.
Yeah, I love Sasha Barnes.
Look at this perfectly natural conversation, which is completely natural in its nature, and is in no way expositional or foreshadowing in any way. I'm pretty sure pull quotes aren't supposed to throw shade at 50% of the couple you're profiling.
So the intention was dull and listless.
In the first movie, I didn't have a single clue if Miranda was insulting something to be a pain in the ass or because it was genuinely terrible. It all looked like clothing to me, but this video is so clearly that I don't know how it even ended up in front of her. I want to trust that she's the final word in fashion, not just saying the things I'm also thinking. I want her to make me feel dumb.
What am I not allowed to say? Methadone? New Jersey.
As if there will ever be a time when it's not okay to dunk on New Jersey. I will officially leave the planet if that day ever comes, because in that instance, what's the point anymore?
And whenever I smell cheap cologne and raccoons, I know I'm in New Jersey.
You choose a hiking shoe and a bum bag.
Bum bag, may my suicide be brief and painless.
Random employee survives this.
I don't need a pat on the head.
Andy insists that she doesn't need a pat on the head, despite there currently being one and a third movie worth of evidence that she craves it more than I crave my very own Nigel. Everything about this establishing shot makes it look like discovering Andy in her office was a huge surprise for the camera operator. Great drink acting, Ms. Hathaway. Just make sure the Coke can is facing the camera, okay? This article about NASA contributing to the beauty industry is absolutely correct. I bring this up mostly to send the fact that we keep cutting the budget of the one agency that seems to be getting done.
Why are we not funding this?
Writing at home, writing with a kid, writing with another writer. Right, Siteman? This article is titled How Global Warming Changing Europe's Cultural Outputs, but is for some reason being dumped in the travel category because our only option is to travel to Mars?
It's nice to see you all grown up.
If a fellow 43-year-old looked me dead in the eye with all sincerity and said, "It's nice to see you all grown up," I would smack the shit out of them.
Catch me up. Who are you now? No. Like, not for this. Just human to human.
Andy continually ignoring Emily as she tries to channel one of my skips.
Why did you leave Runway?
I'm sorry, is this an expose?
I'm actually kind of surprised some gossip rag hasn't already published a story about Miranda's #1 assistant leaving the fashion industry entirely.
Luxury retail is the only sector of the fashion business that still makes money.
Actually, the latest numbers from the last 4 years actually show a pretty steep decline in the luxury fashion market. It's almost like $3,000 handbags are a sensible thing to cut back when faced, well, with all of this. Also, it took all of 2 minutes and some Google Food to discover that brands like H&M are making plenty of money and profit, as are sportswear brands like Nike, which are 100% fashion-minded. I don't know how Emily can say this with a straight face or how Andy can hear it without thinking she's full of shit. Emily adjusts the position of this bag in a way that manages to obscure its branding even more.
Your bag, your scarf, your perfume, your umbrella,
Write this down.
It tells the world who you are.
Citation needed. Also, I can't 100% prove it, but it absolutely looks like Andy is writing random scribbles, as if there wasn't a camera looking directly at this page.
Well, that sounded like a warm bath.
It's as if he forgets he hired her.
And it's as if you forgot that corporate bigwigs are incapable of admitting they are wrong, and that shit rolls downhill in every business.
I've spent my career trying to figure out what people need to know. Now I need to figure out what people want to click on.
No one will be seated as Andy tries to solve the internet.
I'm doing Sasha Barnes' profile.
Protagonist writes a check her ass can't cash, knowing that the script will find a way to fund it. Did I just imply that Andy is aware she's in a movie and manipulating cliches to her advantage? Yes, I did. Largely because stranger than fictioning this shit is the only way I can imagine getting invested in this story.
That's just standing a little close to the fire, no?
I am the fire.
Trying to I am the danger yourself into success 15 years after the technique was mastered. Getting an interview with reclusive gazillionaire Sasha Barnes ends up being as easy as finding a person who sold her some artwork because that person happens to know her dog walker, and they end up being happy to hand over their phone number.
It just kind of breaks my heart when you find a historic building and then they do, you know.
Well, it's heartbreaking. And the other thing is, I did this.
Andy appears to have graduated from the Prometheus school of running away from putting your foot in your mouth about things.
Okay, hi.
Hello.
I'm a jerk.
Confusing being a jerk with having an absolutely valid opinion about something that is objectively terrible. See, I'm not a jerk either.
I got the Holy Grail.
Scene does not contain someone explaining to me that
But in the Latin alphabet, Jehovah begins with an I.
I had no idea that would put me on a rocket ship into this hall of mirrors.
a rocket ship into a hall of mirrors is the only way Christopher Nolan has been able to succinctly explain that wormhole library shit in Interstellar.
Why should you be defined by that marriage? He isn't.
You're right. I'm not. Nor will I be defined by my second.
And yet you yourself will choose to social currency that as a juicy piece of gossip. Movie has time for what feels like showing us the entirety of this first date.
You definitely need an embroidered two-piece totem set, but not terracotta because you're so pale.
There's clearly some kind of malicious virus on my PC that is forcing it to randomly replay scenes from the original Devil Wears Prada movie.
That is so pretty.
Yes, it is, but it's inappropriate for this occasion.
I'm not sure how the power of Andy's pout completely reshapes the very fabric of fashion, suddenly convincing Nigel to abandon his belief that this dress is no longer inappropriate.
Not a stain. Not even the hint of a stain. Nothing. I mean nothing.
Please, I'm not a kid anymore.
Kits. Also, there is so much mentioned about Andy not getting stains on these clothes and returning them after the weekend that it's rather annoying it doesn't foreshadow any kind of fashion disaster that leads to Nigel getting in trouble for loaning out the company's goods. And if it was foreshadowing, would we sin the obvious foreshadowing for being obvious? Yes! Yes, we would!
I want you to meet two of my favorite people, Suleika and John.
This get-together at the Hamptons is this movie's version of an Adam Sandler. Just an excuse for a bunch of friendly cameos to have a nice party together and pass it off as work.
We don't have enough rosé.
Not realizing that any amount of rosé is already too much rosé. Even after Nigel threatened Andy if there was even a hint of stain, nothing will come of her getting food on the dress. And for someone looking forward to an Andy-Nigel fistfight, I'm a little disappointed. Also, there are any number of ways you can fulfill the self-fulfilling prophecy of Andy getting a stain on this dress. Her literally sliding a piece of food off the plate like she forgot the nature of gravity might just be the dumbest one.
I'm going to be global head of content across all Elias Clark publications.
Premature wineabration.
And he's talking about giving the Futures Department bigger budget.
Movie expects me to believe that in the year of our Lord 2026, any greedy billionaire who still dabbles in print would give a features department a bigger budget. And I do not believe you, movie. And we will spend the next 16 seconds watching Andy move a box from one room to another because excitement. There are approximately 4,719 cameos in this movie.
Item shop day.
Deciding to take the Coca-Cola company head on in a competition for the most unsubtle product placement.
Is that Hugh Jackman?
That is Hugh Jackman.
Movie robs us of the one celebrity cameo I actually wanted to see.
I like my neck.
You should, having barely saved it after blowing a goddamn 6-shot lead on the Saturday round at this past Masters. Yeah, I'm still bitter about losing $10 that day, and you know Rory will never pay me back. Rory McIlroy.
Can you believe it?
That you're still on speaking terms with Andy after she destroyed that dress? No, I can't.
She is every girl who never talked to him in high school.
Accidentally insulting Lucy Liu.
God, these parties were so much better when I was drinking.
Kenneth Branagh pitched this character as recovering alcoholic good at violin and somehow created the most compelling character arc in the franchise.
Herb is about to announce Miranda's new position.
Right now?
Unless he dies suddenly of a heart attack mere seconds before he can make the speech, changing the course of the movie, but honestly, what are the odds of that?
I'm impressed the way you got past what happened between you and her.
You could be impressed. Or you could pity him for not being strong enough to say, F fuck this, I'm worth more than being second fiddle to Cruella de Vil. There's a good chance that Irv might have survived the evening if this asshole chose to perform CPR on his chest instead of vaguely massaging the area 2 inches above it. Kenneth Branagh actually took the time to learn how to play the violin just so he could look more realistic as a violin player for the 5 seconds we see him playing. Something I'm sure everyone noticed. I guess it's not quite on the crazy level of Daniel Day-Lewis learning how to stitch clothing for months before shooting The Phantom Thread. But being just a tad less Day-Lewis isn't getting Mr. Branagh away from a sin.
He's been chomping at the bit for vengeance.
Sorry, Emily, but we're going to have to shred your British passport. The king does not approve of mispronounced metaphors. Really gets him champing at the bit.
Can't believe there's someone named Candle.
There really isn't enough Justin Theroux in this movie, which isn't something I had on my 2026 movie bingo card.
Throw a match at him and it'll go up like a Christmas tree in March.
What a dumbass. Why would plastic burn better in March? What?
Always loved your office.
The director said instead of giving Jay an apple, let's have him touch on Miranda's desk without her explicit consent, so we'll know he's an asshole. But an asshole that doesn't want to get the apple mosaic virus.
I'm ready to get ducks in rows, kick some concepts around with you, check boxes.
It should be studied how easily BJ Novak embodies the asshole corporate dick hat so easily. Not like studied hard, but just enough to make sure we can prevent it from happening to other actors.
These are just some consultants that I brought in for the restructure.
Bringing in 8 consultants to help you make savings to cover the cost of the 8 consultants you just hired. Yeah, some things can be a movie sin while also being a real-world sin.
You know, at our offices, we call you Miranda Beastly.
Apparently Harvard does not teach anyone creative tagging if the graduates are just coming up with unoriginal naming like Miranda Beastly.
Right now what's happening is that beast is leashed.
I actually agree with Harvard here. Fully unleashing Miranda would make this movie 1,000% more entertaining.
Undertakers.
No, what? Management consultants.
Like I said.
Undertakers take care of something after it's died. A better metaphor might be the guy from Monty Python trying to get rid of his dead father before he's actually died.
Miranda is resourceful, all right? Whatever this new situation is, she'll find a way.
Says the person who just found out she screwed over her closest ally Nigel 1,000,000 times over the last 20 years. Andy is either way too optimistic or way too stupid, and I don't like either option. Being this keen to use another human's wax-encrusted earbuds.
Show the markets that we are ready to crank that EBITDA.
Having a character mention the EBITDA has become shorthand for them being a profit-mongering asshole who doesn't care about creative thought. But the EBITDA is important. Managing that makes sure everyone keeps their jobs. The evil behind it is deciding that your thing is making money, but not quite enough money to allow the shareholders to maintain their new fleet of yachts.
Features reduced to nothing. Fashion and beauty decimated.
If the fashion and beauty departments are only taking a 10% hit, then that sounds like a win.
Journalism matters more than luxury apartments.
Ah, fun. We're getting a fight between the couple that has barely even been shown as a couple just to kick off some third act conflict, because I guess the movie felt like the downsizing of Runway wasn't enough.
Brave.
Stewart makes a snide comment in reference to a funny bit from the first film, like he's been here the whole time. Did Stewart watch the first movie?
Do not concern yourself with this. It does not concern you.
Andy should be relieved. If it doesn't concern her, that must mean she's still going to be getting paid even if she's fired. Sweet.
No music, unless we call in a favor.
No, she's impossible.
This musical favor that Nigel is wanting Miranda to call in is none other than Lady Gaga. Since they can't afford John Legend anymore, she is apparently the only option. That's right, the only possible musical guest anywhere in the world that would be interested and available in taking some fashion dollars. Movie Prue's character has fallen on hard times because they're having to fly coach instead of first class cliche.
Miss Priestley would like a glass of your finest champagne.
I'm sorry, that's not served in this cabin.
They have snack boxes.
But they also have other types of alcohol available when you sit in coach. This nosy Parker is not only making a ridiculous suggestion based on the previous request, but she's also being nosy. I'm sure there's a good reason why this movie is repeating the fashion things montage backed by Madonna's Vogue exactly beat for beat from the first movie. But honestly, details of its incompetence do not interest me. Of all the times Emily could be jewelry shopping with her billionaire boyfriend, it just so happens to be while Andy is walking by so she can get an epiphany at Tiffany's. Getting so excited by jewelry that you accidentally expose your Britishness with a full-on cheese grommet Wallace Waggle.
Last week he bought her a Monet and a Klimt.
Mixing Parisians with Australians feels like a sin, at least to the Australians. This FaceTime call with her child started at 8:45, which is suspicious considering it's still 8:45.
May the bridges I burn light my way.
But the bridges you burn are most likely behind you. That's the point. You cross them, and then you burn them, meaning you can't come back to them. Meanwhile, in whatever discount James Bond movie this has become,
I'm not doing water these days. trying to operate at an aqua deficit.
People thinking that AI won't be the end of us are completely ignoring that wellness influencers have been trying their hardest for quite some time.
Andy, if you had seen me before I met this one, I had ear hair.
Oh,
so much hair growing out.
No one will be seated as the movie banters about Benji's various areas of bodily hair.
You know much about The Last Supper?
It's honestly hard not to. At this point, it would be easier to count the movies that don't try to force in a Last Supper metaphor whenever there's a f***ing betrayal.
The man in charge is usually depicted with a halo. People think that it was Da Vinci's way of saying, we are human.
The movie is using this version of The Last Supper to humble brag that Miranda might just be human after all. Completely tracks. I remember reading that Jesus would regularly berate his followers for attending hideous shirt conventions.
What's Andy doing beating around here?
Emily's surprise at Andy's arrival means that she had no idea Andy was coming. Meaning, as soon as Andy worked out Miranda might be onto them, she blindly ran out into the middle of Milan and somehow tracked Emily down to wherever she was having lunch so that she could tell her the news. You know, instead of using the internet scrolling device to actually phone her.
Waiting for my Armani. Has she been human trafficked?
We got human trafficking jokes, y'all.
Jay sprung for the big suite.
So no private cars, economy flights, but they're still allowed to spend a hideous amount of money on this suite? Honestly, it would have been hilarious if this was happening in Europe's equivalent of a Red Roof Inn.
Miss Emily is not preserving anything for anybody.
Emily's sudden and predictable turn as a semi-third act villain is sudden and predictable. Instead of wallowing with Andy, I want to talk about how f***ing mixed this movie is. At times, it seems to have a lot more on its mind than just being a cash grab sequel. It attacks the current state of journalism and print media and shows why the traditional roles in these industries dying off is not, well, it's not a good thing. But it seems to want its Chanel and sniff it too by still assaulting us with knockoff scenes paying tribute to the first film, and plenty of Andy getting dogged on by the likes of Miranda and Emily. But hey, rah-rah for journalists and all that. But let's also not forget to make fun of Andy's eyebrows. This is a weird movie, guys. People.
Stockholm called. They want their syndrome back.
The 80s called and they want their joke format back. They're giving me a pass because we're old buddies.
You look like a nervous cat.
The scathing review of Anne Hathaway's role in The Dark Knight Rises somehow makes it into the script.
The future just comes rushing at us like the lava of Pompeii.
Movie at times wants us to think Benji is as big of a rich kid idiot as they come. And then here wants us to think he's got great insights that include historically themed metaphors. And I think finding out he's actually Batman might be more realistic.
How will I know when it's time?
You'll know.
Advice like this.
And if I leave, what happens? What will I have?
If you've been smart, an absolutely incredible diverse range of investments, IRAs, 401ks, property investments, and a Kenneth Branagh. Sounds like good retirement to me.
You have phone calls to make. I have a long list of people for you to wrangle.
It will actually just end up being one person, the only other billionaire that is conveniently available to them and looking to make some charitable donations. This franchise is 330% gala montages.
I really need to talk to them as soon as possible.
I've just been trying all day.
Can you please wake them up?
I have had a lot of caffeine, yes.
The next few minutes will be Andy saying vaguely intimidating tropes at a selection of somebodies on the phone. We will never find out who these somebodies are, why they were needed, or what Andy did to them. But damn it, the editing is telling me I should be impressed.
I was surprised to hear from you.
Why is that?
Because you don't like me.
The movie's climax seems to think it has time for this brief detour into a tense relationship with Lady Gaga that does nothing for nobody.
Well, of course I'm doing it. Nigel said that I'd never get another cover if I didn't do it.
For how much this movie beats the print media is dead horse, there sure are a lot more characters who are concerned they won't get to be part of it anymore. But I thought Nigel said Miranda was the one who had to make the phone call and ask the favor. I heard it in everything.
It took all day, and my cell phone bill is going to be a nightmare.
Why would the cell phone bill be a nightmare? What company in 2026 that is providing travel accommodations around the world is not also investing in an unlimited international calling plan?
I did it. Your plan worked.
Again, we will have no clue what she did, other than arrange a meeting with Lucy Liu and persuade her to buy Elias and Clark. Why did that take calling so many people?
Have I taken you for granted?
This is a sweet moment, but it's redeeming something that didn't really need redeeming. Nigel chose to stay and understood why Miranda took that job away from him in the first movie. I'm all for some character growth, but this movie seems hell-bent on declawing Miranda at every turn. She was fun because she was a villain. I didn't think The Devil Wears Prada 2 would be taking musical cues from Joker, Folie à Deux, but maybe I just don't understand fashion. Also, Lady Gaga sings Shape of a Woman, which is an interesting choice, considering these models seem to be representing a very specific shape of one type of woman.
Are you saying that you sold Runway to someone else?
I sold all of Elias Clark.
Let's talk about the villain's plan. If Emily hadn't let Andy pressure her into telling Miranda about Benji buying Runway, everything would have turned out great for her. I mean, Andy barely even pressured her. It seemed like Emily was determined to blab and villain monologue her way to defeat. At least Lucy Liu got another scene, but they had Lucy freaking Liu, and she only got 2 goddamn scenes? That's my Dr. Watson. And this will be the start of another climactic conversation between Miranda and Andy, where Miranda shows a lot of her true colors, which Andy doesn't exactly approve of, but instead of walking away as she did in the first movie, she will stick it out with Miranda this time around because progress?
How much of my children's lives I've missed.
Skip!
Did you call him yet?
Please bore someone else with your questions.
Well, I screwed up rather royally.
Everyone screws up.
Don't belittle her achievements, Andy. Not everyone screws up in a way that could have ended a decades-long career for the sake of her selfish desire to run a dying magazine and then fail spectacularly in every conceivable way.
Jen, you gotta stop.
Bringing you, obviously, empty cups from Starbucks? Couldn't agree more, Andy.
Fate and a couple of well-timed texts to Jay Rabbits.
Nigel will now take credit for sending Irv and Dave the video of Andy's speech, but we saw that text on Dave's phone earlier, and the movie masked who it was by showing 0 display on the phone screen, which is impossible. At the very least, it would say unknown sender. You can't get a text to an iPhone or an Android without any display at all.
This whole time, you thought that this job just dropped into your lap.
To be fair, she had no reason to think you orchestrated it. Weirder still, you had no reason to keep it from her, other than to deliver this final sentimental touchy-feely moment. Seeing our 3 leads where they belong in adjacent offices is a beautiful bookend, or at least it would be if they were on the right floor. If we cut back to earlier, we can see that Runway is still located on the 25th floor of the McGraw Hill building. Well, that building has 51 floors, meaning they've suddenly jumped up to the 49th floor. Sequels, man, why do we bother?
It's not so much what you look like, it's what's inside that he can't stand.
Thanks again to Whatnot for sponsoring today's video. Click the link in the description to get $15 off your first purchase.